Captain Alina Reyes stood at the helm of the UES Horizon, her eyes fixed on the swirling nebula that filled the view screen. The exploration vessel had been charting this uncharted region of space for 3 months, and while the scientific data they'd collected was invaluable, the crew was growing restless. They'd joined Stellar Exploration Command for the promise of adventure, of making history. So far, all they'd encountered were planets devoid of complex life and the occasional interesting asteroid. Captain, Lieutenant Aisha Okafor called from her station. "I'm picking up an anomalous reading at the edge of our sensor range." Ray straightened, her interest piqued. "What kind of anomaly, Lieutenant?" "It's difficult to say, ma'am. The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database. It's faint, intermittent." "Plot an intercept course, Ensign Chen," Rise ordered, a familiar thrill of excitement coursing through her veins. This could be it, the discovery that would justify their long mission. As the horizon approached the source of the signal, the crew grew increasingly tense. Rise could feel the anticipation crackling in the air like static electricity. "Visual range in 30 seconds, Captain," Chen reported. On screen, Rise commanded. The nebulous, colorful gases parted, revealing a small object tumbling slowly through space. Its sleek, organic curves were unlike any human design, and pulses of soft blue light rippled across its surface at irregular intervals. "It appears to be some kind of escape pod," Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, observed from her station. "And if I'm reading these scans correctly, there's something alive inside." Reyes's heart raced. First contact. The words every explorer dreamed of. Life signs. "Weak, but present," Tanaka confirmed. The pod's life support systems seemed to be failing. Reyes knew the protocol. They should report the find to Stellar Command, wait for instructions. But every instinct told her that whatever was in that pod didn't have time for bureaucracy. "Prepare to bring it aboard," she ordered. "Dr. Tanaka, set up a quarantine field in the cargo bay. Lieutenant Okafor, you're with me." As they made their way to the cargo bay, Rise could see the conflict in Okafor's eyes. "Ma'am, are you sure about this? Regulations state." "I know the regulations, Lieutenant," Rise cut her off. "But I'm not leaving a sentient being to die when we have the power to help. We'll deal with the consequences later." The cargo bay doors hissed open, revealing the alien pod nestled in the center of a shimmering quarantine field. Up close, its design was even more remarkable. Seamless, as if grown rather than constructed. Dr. Tanaka approached, her eyes wide with wonder behind her protective visor. "The material. I've never seen anything like it. It's responding to our atmosphere, becoming more translucent." As if on cue, the pod's surface shifted, turning nearly transparent. Inside, curled in a fetal position, was a small, alien form. "Oh my God," Okafor breathed. The creature was roughly the size of a human child, with iridescent scales covering its body. 4 delicate limbs ended in what looked like webbed appendages, and a crest of feather-like tendrils adorned its head. "It's beautiful," Rise whispered, then shook herself. "Doctor, can we open the pod safely?" Tanaka nodded, her fingers flying over her datapad. "The atmosphere inside is similar enough to ours. I'm not detecting any harmful pathogens. We should be safe to proceed, but I recommend we maintain the quarantine field for now." "Do it," Rise ordered. With a soft hiss, the pod split open like a blooming flower. The alien child stirred, its large, multifaceted eyes blinking open. It let out a soft, melodic trill that tugged at Reyes's heart. "Hello, little one," she said softly, crouching down to be at eye level with the creature. "You're safe now." The alien child tilted its head, regarding Reyes with an unsettling intelligence. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke, not in words, but in a series of images and emotions that bloomed in their minds. Danger, pursuit, hide. The intensity of the communication left Reyes gasping. Did everyone else feel that? Nods and murmurs of assent rippled through the gathered crew. Telepathic communication. Dr. Tanaka breathed, her scientific excitement barely contained. Incredible. But Reyes was more concerned with the content of the message. Whatever this child is, something was chasing it. Something dangerous. As if to underscore her words, the ship's alarms blared to life. Captain to the bridge. Ensign Chen's voice crackled over the intercom, tight with tension. Stay with our guest, Reyes ordered Tanaka and Okafor as she sprinted for the bridge. She burst onto the command deck, immediately taking in the tactical display. A ship had appeared at the edge of their sensor range, massive, bristling with weapons. They're hailing us, Chen reported. Reyes squared her shoulders. On screen. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a hulking reptilian figure. Its yellow eyes narrowed as it regarded Reyes. Human vessel, the alien growled, its words translated by the ship's computer. You have something that belongs to us. Return it immediately, or be destroyed. Reyes felt a chill run down her spine. She thought of the small, vulnerable creature in her cargo bay, of the fear and desperation it had communicated. I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, she replied, keeping her voice steady. We're on a peaceful exploration mission. The alien's face contorted in what might have been a sneer. Do not play games, human. Our sensors detected the pod. Return the abomination to us, or we will take it by force. The communication cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Reyes's mind raced. They were outgunned in uncharted space with no backup. But she knew, with a bone-deep certainty, that she could not hand over the alien child to these hostile pursuers. Battle stations, she ordered, her voice ringing with authority. Ensign Chen, plot us a course out of here, maximum warp. Lieutenant Okafor, she added into her communicator, get our guest to sickbay and strap in. Things are about to get rough. As the Horizon's engines roared to life, Reyes gripped the arms of her captain's chair. She had just made a decision that would alter the course of human history, and quite possibly the fate of the galaxy. Hold on, little one, she murmured. Your adventure is just beginning. Raising Zephyr. The first few weeks aboard the UES Horizon were a whirlwind of activity, fear, and discovery. Captain Elena Reyes had managed to outmaneuver the pursuing alien vessel, at least for now, but she knew it was only a matter of time before they, or others like them, caught up. In the meantime, the crew had thrown themselves into the monumental task of caring for their unexpected passenger. Dr. Yuki Tanaka had taken the lead in studying and nurturing the alien child, which the crew had begun calling Zephyr, due to the soft, wind-like sounds it made when communicating verbally. Captain's log, stardate 2387-5. Reyes spoke into her recorder. It's been 3 weeks since we rescued Zephyr. Dr. Tanaka reports steady progress in understanding its biology and needs, but we're facing challenges I never could have anticipated. She paused, rubbing her temples. The lack of sleep was starting to show on her face, mirrored in the exhausted expressions of her crew. Zephyr's telepathic abilities are overwhelming at times. It seems to lack the ability, or perhaps the understanding, to control its mental projections. The entire crew is experiencing vivid dreams, flashes of alien memories that we can't fully comprehend. Dr. Chandler, our ship's counselor, is working overtime to help the crew cope. A soft chime interrupted her recording. Come in, she called. The door slid open to reveal Dr. Tanaka, looking both excited and frazzled. Captain, I think we've had a breakthrough with Zephyr's nutrition needs. Reyes gestured for her to continue, noting the dark circles under the xenobiologist's eyes. We've managed to synthesize a compound that mimics the nutrient profile we found in the residual fluid in Zephyr's pod. It's not perfect, but it's keeping them stable. Them. Reyes raised an eyebrow. Tanaka nodded. We're still not sure about Zephyr's species' concept of gender, if they have one at all. It felt too impersonal, given how personable Zephyr is becoming. Reyes couldn't argue with that. Despite the language barrier, Zephyr had quickly endeared themselves to the crew with their curiosity and gentle demeanor. "There's more," Tanaka continued, her excitement growing. "Zephyr's starting to form rudimentary verbal communication. They're picking up English at an astonishing rate." Reyes felt a surge of pride, as if Zephyr were her own child reaching a milestone. "That's incredible, Doctor. I'd like to see for myself, if possible." They made their way to the modified quarters that had become Zephyr's home. Inside, they found Lieutenant Aisha Okufer sitting cross-legged on the floor, Zephyr mimicking her posture perfectly. "Aisha," Zephyr trilled, their voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Friend." Okafor beamed up at Reyes and Tanaka. "They've been practicing all morning. Show them what else you've learned, Zephyr." The alien child's crest of feathery tendrils rippled with excitement. "El Ina. Captain. Protect." Reyes felt her throat tighten with emotion. She crouched down next to Zephyr, marveling at how much they'd grown in just 3 weeks. "That's right, Zephyr. We'll protect you." A flash of images filled her mind. Stars streaking by, a sense of pursuit, fear mingled with gratitude. Reyes had grown somewhat accustomed to these mental projections, but they still left her momentarily disoriented. "Sorry," Zephyr said aloud, surprising everyone. "Hard control." "It's okay," Reyes assured them, recovering quickly. "We understand you're still learning." Over the next few months, Zephyr's growth and development continued to astonish the crew. Their mastery of English progressed rapidly, though they still relied heavily on telepathic communication to convey complex ideas or emotions. The challenge of raising an alien child while evading pursuit and continuing their mission of exploration was taking its toll on the crew, but it had also forged them into a tighter unit than ever before. Zephyr spent time with each department, their insatiable curiosity driving them to learn about every aspect of the ship's operations. "I still can't believe how quickly they're picking up quantum mechanics," Lieutenant Commander Kira Chen, the ship's chief engineer, remarked during a staff meeting. "Zephyr's understanding of subspace is almost intuitive. I think they might be able to help us improve our warp drive efficiency." "That's all well and good," Security Chief Marcus Blackwood grumbled. "But we need to focus on the threat at hand. We've had 3 near misses with ships matching the profile of Zephyr's pursuers in the last month alone. We can't keep running forever." Reyes nodded, acknowledging the truth in Blackwood's words. "Agreed. Dr. Tanaka, have we made any progress in understanding why these aliens are so intent on capturing Zephyr?" The xenobiologist shifted uncomfortably. "It's complicated, Captain. From what we've been able to piece together from Zephyr's memories and the limited data we've gathered, it seems Zephyr's species is divided into factions. The faction pursuing us believes that individuals with Zephyr's particular genetic makeup are dangerous, abominations to use their term." "But why?" Okafor pressed. "Zephyr's abilities are remarkable, but hardly seems to warrant this level of pursuit." Tanaka took a deep breath. We think Zephyr might be the key to unlocking some kind of evolutionary leap for their species. Their telepathic abilities are far stronger than what we've seen in the pursuing aliens. There are also signs of other latent abilities that we don't fully understand yet." A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. "So we're harboring some kind of alien messiah," Blackwood finally said, his voice a mix of awe and apprehension. "I wouldn't go that far," Tanaka cautioned. "But Zephyr is certainly special, even among their own kind." Rey stood, pacing the length of the conference room. "None of this changes our primary mission. We protect Zephyr, we continue our exploration, and we find a way to resolve this conflict. The Federation's principles are clear. We don't abandon those in need, no matter the cost." As if summoned by her words, the ship's red alert klaxon began to blare. "Captain to the bridge." Ensign Patel's voice came over the comm. "We've got multiple hostile ships on an intercept course." The senior staff rushed to their stations, Reyes in the lead. As she entered the bridge, she saw Zephyr already there, their eyes wide with fear as they stared at the tactical display. "My fault," Zephyr whispered, their mental projection a whirlwind of guilt and terror. "Danger to all. Should go." Rise knelt beside them, gripping their shoulders gently. "No, Zephyr. You're one of us now. We face this together." She straightened, surveying her crew. Despite the fear evident in their eyes, she saw determination, loyalty, and a fierce protective instinct that made her chest swell with pride. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice steady and sure. "Ensign Chen, evasive maneuvers. Lieutenant Okafor, ready all weapons. Whatever happens next, we show these pursuers exactly what it means to threaten someone under humanity's protection." As the horizon banked sharply, narrowly avoiding the first volley of enemy fire, Rise felt Zephyr's presence brush against her mind. This time, instead of fear, she felt a surge of courage and resolve. Together, human and alien united, they prepared to face the coming storm. The pursuit. The UES horizon shuddered under the impact of another energy blast, the shields flickering dangerously. Shield strength down to 38%, Lieutenant Okafor reported, her fingers dancing over the tactical console. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Captain Alina Reyes gritted her teeth, her mind racing through possible scenarios. They were outgunned and outnumbered, but she refused to give up. "Ensign Chen, can we make it to the Veil Nebula? The radiation might give us some cover." Chen shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. "Negative, Captain. They've cut us off. We're surrounded." As if to underscore Chen's words, the pursuing ships tightened their formation, boxing in the horizon. The largest vessel, easily 5 times the size of the human ship, moved to the forefront. "They're hailing us again," Okafor announced. Rice took a deep breath, steeling herself. On screen. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the now familiar reptilian features of the alien commander. His yellow eyes seemed to burn with barely contained rage. "This is your final warning, humans," he snarled. "Surrender the abomination, or we will destroy your vessel and take it by force." Rice was about to respond when she felt a gentle touch on her arm. She looked down to see Zephyr, their iridescent scales shimmering with determination. "Let me speak to them," Zephyr said, their voice soft but resolute. "Please, Alina." Rice hesitated for a moment, then nodded. She had come to trust Zephyr's judgment, even if the alien child was still learning the complexities of human interaction. Zephyr stepped forward, their slender form a stark contrast to the hulking alien on the screen. When they spoke, their voice carried a harmonic quality that seemed to resonate through the bridge. "I am the one you seek," Zephyr declared. "But I am not your enemy, nor are these humans who have shown me kindness." The alien commander's eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed suspiciously. "You speak for yourself now, abomination. Have these humans corrupted you so thoroughly?" Zephyr's feathery crest rippled, a sign Rias had come to associate with strong emotion. "They have not corrupted me. They have nurtured me, protected me, and taught me to embrace who I am. Why do you fear me so? We are of the same people." "You are a threat to the natural order," the commander spat. "Your kind would destroy everything we have built, everything we are. Or we could help our people evolve, grow beyond what we have been," Zephyr countered. "Change does not have to mean destruction." The commander seemed taken aback by Zephyr's eloquence. For a moment, Reyes dared to hope that diplomacy might prevail where force had failed. But then the alien's features hardened once more. "Pretty words cannot disguise the danger you represent. We will cleanse this aberration from our species, one way or another." The communication cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in tense silence. "Captain," Okafor called out, her voice tight with urgency. "They're powering up weapons, all ships." Reyes's mind raced. They were out of options, out of time. She opened her mouth to give the order to prepare for impact, when Zephyr suddenly stiffened beside her. "No," Zephyr whispered, their eyes wide and unfocused. No more violence. No more fear. Before anyone could react, Zephyr's form began to glow with an otherworldly light. Waves of energy pulsed from their body, washing over the bridge crew. Reyes gasped as she felt Zephyr's consciousness brush against her own, far more powerful and controlled than ever before. "Zephyr, what are you?" Reyes began, but her words died in her throat as she witnessed the impossible. The energy emanating from Zephyr expanded outward, engulfing the horizon, and then stretching further, enveloping the enemy ships. On the view screen, Reyes could see the alien vessels suddenly freeze in place, as if caught in invisible amber. "My God," Dr. Tanaka breathed from her station. "The power readings. I've never seen anything like it." Zephyr turned to Reyes, their multifaceted eyes swirling with colors Reyes had never seen before. When they spoke, their voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I understand now," Zephyr said, their words resonating in both the air and in Reyes's mind. "This is why they feared me. But fear is born of misunderstanding. I can bridge that gap." Before Reyes could respond, the view screen came to life once more. But instead of the angry alien commander, she saw a series of images flashing by at dizzying speed. Alien worlds, strange civilizations, cosmic wonders beyond human comprehension, all streamed past in a flood of visual information. "Captain," Okafor called out, her voice filled with awe. "This is being broadcast to all ships, ours and theirs." Reyes realized with a start that these weren't just random images. This was history, the history of Zephyr's people, from their earliest days to the present. She saw their triumphs and failures, their wars and their moments of transcendent peace. And through it all, she felt Zephyr's presence, guiding them through this cosmic narrative. The images slowed, focusing now on individuals who looked like Zephyr, gifted children, worn throughout their species' history, feared and hunted by those who didn't understand. "They're like me," Zephyr's voice echoed in Reyes's mind. "Catalysts for change, for growth. But change is frightening." So they were cast out, hunted. The cycle of fear continued, generation after generation. The stream of images faded, leaving the bridge crew blinking in stunned silence. On the view screen, Reyes could see the alien ships still frozen in place, but there was something different about them now. The weapons that had been primed to fire were powering down. "Incoming transmission," Okafor reported, her voice hushed. The screen flickered, and the alien commander appeared once more, but his demeanor had changed entirely. Gone was the rage and hostility. Instead, his yellow eyes were wide with what Reyes could only describe as reverence. We did not understand," the commander said, his voice trembling. "For generations, we have been blinded by fear, but now we see. Now we remember." Zephyr stepped forward, their glow diminishing but still present. "There is no need for fear between us. We are all part of the same cosmic dance, each playing our part in the grand symphony of existence." The commander bowed his head. "We have much to atone for, young one, and much to learn." As the alien ships began to stand down, Reyes felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had averted disaster, not through force of arms, but through understanding. It was everything the Federation stood for, everything she believed in as an explorer and a leader. But as she looked at Zephyr, now swaying slightly with exhaustion, she realized that this was only the beginning. The young alien had revealed powers beyond anything they had imagined, powers that would undoubtedly draw attention from across the galaxy. "Zephyr," she said softly, placing the supportive hand on their shoulder. "Are you all right?" Zephyr turned to her, their eyes once again the familiar swirling pools she had come to know. They smiled, a gesture they had learned from the human crew. "I am, Elena," they replied. "For the first time, I truly understand who I am and what I can do. But I could not have reached this point without you and the crew. You gave me the safety and love I needed to grow into myself." Reyes felt a swell of emotion in her chest. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Whatever cosmic dramas were about to unfold, she knew that her crew, her family, would face them together. "Well," she said, straightening her uniform and surveying her stunned but relieved crew, "I think we have some interesting reports to file with Starfleet Command. But first, let's make sure our new friends don't have any lingering doubts about our peaceful intentions." As the Horizon's crew began the delicate work of diplomatic follow-up, Reyes couldn't help but feel that they were standing on the precipice of a new era in galactic history. And at the center of it all was Zephyr, a child of two worlds, a bridge between species, and a harbinger of changes yet to come. The pursuit was over, but their true journey was just beginning. Zephyr's choice. 6 months had passed since the confrontation with Zephyr's pursuers, and the UES Horizon had become the center of a whirlwind of diplomatic activity. The ship now played host to a delegation of Zephyr's people, the Asterians, as they called themselves, who had come to learn from and about the young prodigy who had changed the course of their civilization. Captain Alina Reyes stood in the ship's newly expanded observation lounge, watching Zephyr interact with both human crew members and Asterian delegates. The young alien had grown considerably, both physically and in their abilities, since that fateful day. "It's remarkable, isn't it?" Dr. Yuki Tanaka said, coming to stand beside Reyes. "6 months ago, we were teaching Zephyr basic English. Now they're facilitating interspecies peace talks." Reyes nodded, a mixture of pride and concern etched on her face. "Sometimes I forget they're still essentially a child, the weight of responsibility on their shoulders." Her words trailed off as Zephyr approached, flanked by an Asterian elder named Thelos and Lieutenant Aisha Okafor. "Alina," Zephyr greeted, their melodic voice tinged with excitement. "Thelos has been sharing stories of our homeworld. It sounds beautiful." Reyes couldn't help but notice the wistful tone in Zephyr's voice. It was a stark reminder that, despite the deep bonds formed with the Horizon's crew, Zephyr was experiencing their own culture for the first time. "Perhaps you'd like to visit someday," Reyes suggested, careful to keep her tone neutral. The thought of Zephyr leaving sent a pang through her heart, but she knew it might be an important step in their development. Thelos, his scaled features arranged in what Reyes had learned was a smile, nodded enthusiastically. "We would be honored to host Zephyr on Asteria. There is much they could learn about their heritage, their potential." Before anyone could respond, the ship's red alert klaxon blared to life. "Captain Reyes to the bridge." Lieutenant Commander Chen's voice came over the comm. "We've got a situation." Reyes exchanged a quick glance with Okafor before hurrying to the bridge, Zephyr close behind. As they entered, the view screen showed a massive ship unlike anything Reyes had ever seen. It seemed to shimmer and shift, as if not fully present in normal space. "Report," Reyes barked, sliding into her captain's chair. "The vessel appeared out of nowhere, Captain," Chen explained, her fingers flying over her console. "It's not like any known form of cloaking technology. One moment empty space, the next, this." The ship dwarfed even the largest Asterian vessels they'd encountered. As Reyes watched, a beam of light shot out from the mysterious craft, enveloping the horizon in a soft, golden glow. "Shields are ineffective," Okafor reported, a note of panic in her voice. "The beam is passing right through them, but it's not causing any damage. I'm not sure what it's doing." Zephyr stepped forward, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and recognition. I know them," they whispered. Before Reyes could ask for clarification, the view screen changed. Instead of the imposing ship, they saw a being of pure energy, vaguely humanoid in shape, but constantly shifting and flowing. "Greetings, children of the stars," the being spoke, its voice resonating not through the ship's speakers, but directly in their minds. "We have watched your journey with great interest." Reyes stood, drawing on all her diplomatic training. "I am Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth Ship Horizon. We come in peace and friendship." The being's form rippled in what might have been amusement. "We know who you are, Alina Reyes, just as we know you, Zephyr, child of two worlds." Zephyr stepped forward, standing beside Reyes. "You're like me," they said, not a question but a statement of fact. "We are what you may become," the being confirmed. "We are the Luminae, those who have transcended physical form to become one with the cosmic consciousness. And you, Zephyr, have the potential to join us." A hushed silence fell over the bridge. Reyes felt a cold knot of fear form in her stomach. Were they about to lose Zephyr to these cosmic beings? The Luminae's form expanded, filling the view screen with swirling colors and patterns of energy. "We have watched your species, both human and Asterian, for millennia. Both have great potential, but also great capacity for conflict. Zephyr represents a bridge between worlds, a catalyst for change and growth." Zephyr's feathery crest rippled with emotion. "Is that why I was born? To bring our peoples together?" "That is one possibility," the Luminae replied. "But the choice of how to use your gifts is yours alone. You could remain with your human family, helping to guide both species in their development. You could return to Asteria, helping your biological kin understand and embrace their evolutionary destiny. Or you could join us among the stars, transcending physical form to explore the deepest mysteries of the cosmos." Reyes watched as Zephyr absorbed this information, their multifaceted eyes swirling with conflicting emotions. She wanted to offer comfort, guidance, but she knew this was a decision Zephyr had to make for themselves. I don't know," Zephyr said, their voice small and uncertain for the first time in months. "How can I choose? There's so much I could learn, so much I could do in each path." The Luminae's form pulsed gently. "The choice need not be made immediately, young one. We offer you a gift. The gift of time and experience." A tendril of energy extended from the Luminae, touching Zephyr gently on the forehead. Zephyr gasped, their eyes going wide. "What are you doing to them?" Reyes demanded, stepping forward protectively. "Peace, Alina Reyes," the Luminae soothed. "We are granting Zephyr a vision of possible futures. They will experience years in the span of moments, seeing the outcomes of each choice." For several tense minutes, Zephyr stood motionless, their eyes unfocused. The bridge crew watched in anxious silence, unsure of what was happening or how to help. Finally, Zephyr blinked, coming back to themselves. Tears streamed down their face, but a smile of profound understanding played on their lips. "I saw it all," Zephyr said, their voice filled with wonder. "Years with the crew, watching humanity reach for the stars. Decades on Asteria, guiding my people to a new age of enlightenment. Centuries among the Luminae, touching the very fabric of the universe." Zephyr turned to Reyes, taking her hand. "And I realized something, Alina. Something important." "What's that?" Reyes asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "That every path is valuable. That there is no single right choice." Zephyr's gaze swept across the bridge, taking in the faces of the crew that had become their family. "My journey began here, with all of you. And while I have much to learn from the Asterians, from the Luminae, my place is here. At least for now." The Luminae's form seemed to brighten. "A wise choice, young one. Remember, the path of growth is never ending. When you are ready, we will be waiting." As the energy being faded from the view screen, the massive ship shimmering out of existence as mysteriously as it had appeared, Reyes felt a wave of relief and pride wash over her. "Well," she said, a smile tugging at her lips, "it seems our mission of exploration just got a lot more interesting." Zephyr nodded, their expression a mixture of determination and excitement. "We have so much to learn, so much to discover, and we'll do it together." As the bridge crew returned to their stations, a new sense of purpose energizing their movements, Reyes couldn't help but feel that they were standing on the threshold of something monumental, with Zephyr by their side, bridging the gap between human, Asterian, and the cosmic unknown. The future stretched out before them, bright with possibility. The journey ahead would be challenging, filled with diplomatic hurdles, scientific marvels, and undoubtedly more than a few dangers. But as Reyes looked at her crew, human and alien alike. She knew they were ready to face whatever the universe had in store. After all, they were explorers, diplomats, and now, thanks to Zephyr, something more. They were bridge builders between worlds, stepping boldly into a new era of galactic cooperation and understanding. The Coalition. 5 years had passed since Zephyr's encounter with the Luminae, and the galaxy had changed in ways few could have predicted. The UES Horizon, once a lone exploration vessel, now stood at the center of a growing interstellar coalition. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the newly christened CSS Harmony. CSS standing for Coalition Starship. The Harmony was a marvel of cooperative engineering, blending the best of human, Asterian, and a dozen other species technologies. Status report. Reyes called out, her eyes sweeping over the bridge. Familiar faces mixed with new ones, a testament to the diverse crew that now served under her command. All systems nominal. Captain. Lieutenant Commander Aisha Okafor responded from her station. The Asterian quantum drive is operating at peak efficiency. Coalition comm channels are clear, added Ensign Tilara, a young Vulcan officer who had joined the crew as part of the expanding cultural exchange program. All member worlds report ready for the ceremony. Reyes nodded, a mix of pride and nostalgia washing over her. So much had changed, yet the spirit of exploration and cooperation that had defined their original mission remained at the heart of everything they did. The doors to the bridge slid open, and Zephyr entered. No longer the child they had rescued years ago, Zephyr had grown into a striking figure. Their iridescent scales shimmered with barely contained energy, and their eyes held depths of wisdom that belied their relative youth. "Are we ready?" Zephyr asked, their melodic voice carrying an undercurrent of excitement. Reyes smiled. "As ready as we'll ever be. This is your show, after all." Today marked the official formation of the Galactic Cooperative, a union of species dedicated to mutual understanding, scientific advancement, and peaceful coexistence. It was an initiative that had grown from the seeds planted by the Horizon's original mission, nurtured by Zephyr's unique ability to bridge cultural and biological divides. "All member worlds are standing by," Tilara reported. "We're receiving transmissions from Earth, Asteria, Vulcan, Andoria, and 17 other core worlds." Zephyr stepped to the center of the bridge, their form beginning to glow softly. "Let us begin," they said, their voice resonating with power. The view screen came to life, splitting into multiple sections to show the leaders and representatives of each member world. Reyes watched with a sense of awe as Zephyr's consciousness expanded, connecting with each of the distant worlds simultaneously. "Greetings, friends and allies," Zephyr's voice echoed across the stars. "Today, we stand united not by borders or species, but by our shared desire for knowledge, growth, and harmony." As Zephyr spoke, Reyes could see the impact of their words reflected in the faces of leaders across the galaxy. The fear and mistrust that had once defined interspecies relations were giving way to hope and curiosity. "In the years since we first encountered one another," Zephyr continued, "we have learned much. We have faced challenges together, celebrated victories as one. We have seen that our differences are not obstacles, but opportunities, chances to view the universe through new eyes, to solve problems with diverse minds." Images began to flow across the view screen, moments from the past 5 years that had led to this day. The first joint human-Asterian science mission, the cultural exchange programs that had flourished across coalition worlds, the combined fleet that had peacefully resolved a centuries-old conflict in a distant star system. "But our journey is far from over," Zephyr said, their voice gaining strength. "The universe is vast, filled with wonders we have yet to imagine and challenges we have yet to face. It is only by standing together, by combining our strengths and learning from our differences, that we can hope to navigate the cosmic ocean before us." Reyes felt a swell of emotion in her chest. She thought back to that day, years ago, when they had first discovered Zephyr's pod. How could she have known then that that single act of compassion would lead to this moment? As we formalize our coalition today, Zephyr continued, we do so not just for ourselves, but for all those who will come after us. We are laying the foundation for a future where the boundaries between species fade, where knowledge flows freely across the stars, and where the combined potential of all sentient beings can be realized. The glow surrounding Zephyr intensified, and Rice could feel the energy pulsing through the ship. On the view screen, she saw similar phenomena occurring on each of the member worlds, a visual representation of the psychic link Zephyr was forging. With this link, Zephyr said, their voice now echoing with the combined thoughts and emotions of billions of beings across the galaxy, I invite you all to share in a vision of our shared future. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, Reyes and every being connected to the network experienced a glimpse of what could be. They saw gleaming cities where multiple species lived and worked in harmony. They witnessed the birth of new stars, the unlocking of cosmic secrets, the pushing back of frontiers both physical and philosophical. As the vision faded, Reyes blinked away tears. Looking around the bridge, she saw similar expressions of awe and hope on the faces of her crew. Let this be our covenant, Zephyr said, their voice soft but carrying the weight of history. To explore, to learn, to grow. Not as separate species, but as one galactic family. One by one, the leaders on the view screen voiced their agreement, formally sealing the creation of the Galactic Cooperative. As the ceremony concluded, a cheer went up across the Harmony's bridge, echoed by billions of voices across the stars. Zephyr turned to Reyes, their eyes shimmering with emotion. Thank you, Elena, they said softly. None of this would have been possible without you, without the horizon. You gave me a home, a family, when I was lost and alone. You showed me the best of what sentient beings can be. Reyes pulled Zephyr into a tight embrace, her own eyes misting over. You've come so far, she whispered. We all have, thanks to you. As they separated, Reyes straightened her uniform and turned to face her crew. Well, she said, a smile playing on her lips, I believe we have a galaxy to explore. Helm, set a course for the uncharted regions beyond Coalition space. Let's see what's out there. The Harmony's engines hummed to life, propelling the ship towards the unknown. As stars streaked by on the view screen, Reyes felt a profound sense of optimism. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not as humans, or Asterians, or any single species, but as a united coalition of cosmic explorers. The pursuit that had begun with a small alien child in a damaged escape pod had led them here, to the threshold of a new era of galactic cooperation and discovery. And as the Harmony leaped into warp, carrying the hopes and dreams of countless beings, Reyes knew that their greatest adventures were still to come. The end was just the beginning.